What's up guys, I'm Eloise from Fitwaffle and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm super excited to be here on the Waitrose channel and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a no-bake white chocolate cheesecake. So this cheesecake is one of my favorites. It has a really buttery shortbread biscuit base, a creamy white chocolate cheesecake filling, topped with a really rich and creamy white chocolate ganache. Finished with a sprinkle of biscuit around the edge and a white chocolate chunk in the middle. If you love white chocolate and you love shortbread biscuits, this is the ultimate cheesecake for you. So let's get baking. The first thing we're gonna do is crush up our shortbread biscuits in a food processor. My food processor is a little bit small to crush up all these biscuits, so we're gonna be doing this in 2 batches. So they are really nice and finely crushed up now. Make sure there's no big chunks in there. I'm just gonna pour these into my bowl and then crush up the rest of them. I'm using shortbread biscuits here because I think it gives a really nice flavor alongside the white chocolate. It's also really buttery and I actually like quite a firm base, so shortbread is my go-to for this recipe. You could also use digestive biscuits as an alternative here. You might just want to increase the butter slightly just so it's not too crumbly. There'll be a few left over in the pack, but I don't know about you guys, I love dunking shortbread biscuits in a cup of tea. Lovely. Now I'm gonna pour those into the bowl with the rest of them. So you need to make sure your biscuits are really finely crushed because any chunks could break up your base, and we don't want that. I'm going to pour in my melted butter and mix them together. If you do have a bigger food processor, you could actually put your butter in with your biscuits and just blitz them up because that will make them come together as well. So make sure your biscuits are fully covered in the butter. We don't want any dry patches. I used unsalted butter in this recipe, but if you want to use salted, you can. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. Now they're fully combined, I'm gonna pour these biscuits into my pre-lined cake tin. I'm using a springform tin here as it makes the cheesecake easier to get out. Now I'm just going to press it down nice and firmly so it's nice and even. So the first time I actually tried a shortbread base was because my sister was making a cheesecake and she didn't have any digestive biscuits in the house. So she used shortbread and honestly, it was one of the best cheesecakes I ever tried. So I made it my mission from there to make a really good cheesecake with a shortbread base. So I'm just pressing these edges all the way out to the sides, just to make sure there's no gaps or anything in it, and that's gonna give you a really nice looking cheesecake. Now that's done, I'm just gonna pop it in the fridge to chill. Now my biscuit base has chilled, I'm gonna move on to making the cheesecake filling. I'm gonna start by whisking my double cream to stiff peaks. It's really helpful here if you use cold double cream, as this is gonna help it whip easier and faster. Now my cream is at stiff peaks, I'm gonna add our cream cheese and icing sugar to a separate bowl. I'm using full fat cream cheese as this is gonna help the cheesecake stay really nice and creamy. It's also gonna allow it to hold its shape and set really nicely. If you do use a low fat cream cheese, you might find that it becomes a bit too watery and doesn't hold up as well. Next, I'm gonna add in our icing sugar and this has been pre-sifted. Now I'm gonna whisk those together using my whisk that I've already used. Don't worry about cleaning it. We're gonna be putting in the cream anyway. Just gonna scrape down those edges, make sure all that icing sugar is incorporated. Now that's just combined, I'm gonna add our white chocolate to our bowl. This is melted and cooled down slightly. I really love white chocolate because of the creaminess of it and it's subtle as well. It's not too overpowering, but it still gives a really nice sweetness. And if you want the link to the full recipe, it's in the video description. Now I'm just gonna whisk in the white chocolate. Perfect. Next step, I'm gonna add our ready whipped cream. So I'm just folding in the whipped cream here and I'm just making sure everything's really smooth and combined, but you don't want to overmix here. This one is a great one for barbecues or parties because if you're doing a lot of kitchen prep on the day and you want something that's pre-made, this stays in the fridge for up to 3 days, so you can make it ahead and then you can bring it out when you're ready. Now I'm gonna transfer our cheesecake onto our base. And I'm gonna smooth this out, pressing it right into the edges so there's no gaps. That's gonna give us a really nice smooth edge on our cheesecake. I absolutely love making cheesecakes for friends and for parties because it's actually really easy to make, but it's a real showstopper, and lots of people I know love a good cheesecake. So that's nice and even now. I'm really happy with it. Now I'm gonna pop it in the fridge. This needs to chill for a minimum of 6 hours, but preferably overnight. My cheesecake has had its time in the fridge now. The edges are really nice and smooth. You could just leave it like this and decorate it however you want, but I'm gonna add a white chocolate ganache to the top. Just using white chocolate and double cream. I've zapped it in the microwave for just over a minute and then stirred it until it's about this consistency. Depending on your microwave, the time might vary slightly, but you just need to make sure that it's all combined with no lumps. You want to make sure your ganache is cooled down slightly because we don't want to pour it over and melt the cheesecake. Okay, so I've just poured that into the center, and now I'm gonna run my spoon around, so I'm just gonna push it gently off the edge. So you can really use as much or as little ganache as you like here. I like quite a lot of ganache on my cheesecake. So I'm really happy with that now. As you can see, there's some drips around the edge, which I think look really pretty. If you want to pour more on and cover the entire cheesecake in the ganache, that's totally fine as well. It will be absolutely delicious. If you do have any leftover ganache, you can always put it in the fridge. It will last for about 3 days. I like to reheat mine and pour over a bit of ice cream. This is just gonna go back in the fridge now to set fully. So here is our almost finished cheesecake. As you can see, the ganache is really set and it's nice and shiny, ready to decorate. I'm going to be sprinkling some shortbread crumb around the edge. So I'm gonna be nice and careful with this. So essentially, you can really decorate this however you want. I'm just decorating it a really easy way by crumbling up a couple of shortbread biscuits and sprinkling them around the edge. Last but not least, I'm gonna add a white chocolate chunk into the middle. Perfect. And there you have it, my no-bake white chocolate cheesecake. It has a really thick, buttery shortbread base, a creamy white chocolate filling, topped with that really nice white chocolate ganache. I really hope you do try this recipe and I really hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell for more videos. Thanks so much for watching. Now I'm gonna go serve this.